Welcome everybody. Welcome back. We're going to start chapter 3, Perek Shlishi. HaMelech HaMashiach Osid Lamed. Alright? At some point, Mashiach is going to stand. Or if, we'll title this class, Will the Real Mashiach Please Stand Up? I think someone has a class titled that, but we're not going to do that. Alright. פרק הקודם נסבר במשמעות האמון בביס המשיח, האמון בחזרת מלכוס דוד ליושנה ועל ידי זה חזרת כל משפטי התורה. In the previous chapter, we explained the implication of what does it mean to believe in the coming of Mashiach, the belief in the return of the kingdom of David to its former glory, and through that, the return of all the laws of Torah. ומזה ימשלה המשיך ולזעקב על עניין עיקרי המובן מדברי הרמב"ם שצריכה להיות האמונה במלך המשיח דווקא. Now we'll continue and we'll speak about the very, very important fundamental point that is brought in the words of the Rambam, that there needs to be a belief in the King Mashiach, in Melech HaMashiach himself, specifically. Hainu, be'ish hamalubish b'guf hagashmi shel basar v'dam, a man of flesh and blood. Like the words of the Rambam, like we said before, that HaMelech HaMashiach, the King Mashiach, will arise, and anyone who does not believe in him, or who does not await his coming, which is the coming of a Mashiach, a Messiah that is of flesh and blood, soul in a body. He is a heretic to the Torah and to Moshe Rabbeinu, that the Torah testified on him. From this it's understood, if a person believes in the situation, the fact that there will be this concept of redemption, there will be a day will come where the Jews will return to their lands, and there will be a perfection, a completion of Torah and mitzvahs. But he does not believe in a man of flesh and blood that will cause all of this, that will bring all of this into effect. He is a kofer, he is heretic. So the reason is, like we will explain according to what was mentioned, because what is the concept of the coming of Mashiach? What does it mean that Mashiach comes? It means that there is a return of the kingdom of David. It's not some conceptual thing. It is brought down and it is manifest in a man of flesh and blood. Starting from David HaMelech, and continue to his descendants. What does it mean to return the kingdom of David? Is through the arisal of a man of flesh and blood who is a descendant of David HaMelech. One who does not believe in this concept, in this idea, so the words of the Rambam go on, apply to him, that anybody who argues or who disagrees with the kingship from this family is heretic to Hashem. Now let's go even further. One who delves deep into the words of the prophets, with regards to the complete redemption, he will see many prophecies regarding the return of the kingdom of David. Being that these prophecies come together with the additional prophecies with regards to all the other testaments of the redemption, which is the return of the Jews to the land, the building the Beis HaMikdash, and the resting of God's countenance on the Beis HaMikdash. You can get the impression that it's one of the details. It's important, but there are many important things. And therefore it's possible to think that the redemption will begin with other things that have to happen. And then, with regards, amongst all the things that are happening, Mashiach is going to be revealed. Yeah, Geulah Mashiach, and then the kingdom of David will return. But if you look at the words of Rambam, you see clearly that the revelation of Melech HaMashiach is not only something that is a necessary detail, a necessary of the redemption. Rather, it's the foundation of everything of the redemption. And therefore, it has to come in the beginning. And like the Rambam says over there, that what is the purpose of Mashiach? Mashiach is going to arise, first and foremost. He is going to return the kingdom of David. And then through this foundation, you can get to the rest of the details, the rest of the things, which is building the Beis HaMikdash and gathering the Yidden into the land of Israel. And if you look at the words of the continuation of the Rambam describes the order of the Geula practically, and he begins with Yamed Melech Mebeis David, there's going to arise a king from the house of David. And that is specifically how the order of the redemption is going to go. Now, the reason we can explain possibly that when you have the acceptance of the yoke of heaven, Malchus Shamayim, is the foundation to fulfill all the mitzvahs in general. So similarly, we can apply the same concept to the future redemption, that is the perfection, the completion of Torah mitzvahs. And this completion can only happen after the return of David, the return of the kingdom of David, with the arisal of a king of flesh and blood from the house of David that will reveal Hashem's kingship, Malchus Shamayim, on the Jews. And so when a person might think that he could say that the ingathering of the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael, the previous generations, was the beginning of the redemption, the Rebbe would remove that claim by saying that it's not possible to call this as Chalta de Geula, and not even as Chalta, not even the beginning of the beginning, as long as Melech Mebeis David is not here, that we could say by him he's returning the kingdom of David HaMelech, and because that is specifically how the redemption begins, with a king of flesh and blood that returns the kingdom of David. Now let's go even further. When we go into the words of the Rambam, we see that the revelation of Melech HaMashiach is not only as a foundation to allow for all the other things of the Geula to happen. Rather, it is the fundamental point and the goal of the entire concept of redemption. We could possibly see this in a very clear way from the words of the Rambam in Peirush HaMishnayos. There, the Rambam goes in length to describe the greatness of the kingship of Mashiach. And he does not mention at all the perfection, the completion of Torah mitzvahs, that we said will be as a result of Mashiach returning the kingship. And what does the Rambam say over there? So Yemei Mashiach Huzman Shetashim Malchus Yisrael. The days of Mashiach is the time where kingship will return to the Jews, and they will return to the land of Israel. This king will be very great, and his house in Zion will greaten his name, and his mention will be filled by the nations, even more than Melech Shleima. And all the nations will perfect him, will complete him, and they will serve, all the lands will serve him to his great righteousness and to the great wonders that will be through him. And anybody that stands against him, they will be completely destroyed, and they will be removed through him. Nothing will change from what it is now, but the very simple fact that kingship will return to the Jews. And similarly, in the continuation of the words of the Rambam, when he lays out the 13 fundamentals of faith, and he reaches the 12th fundamental, which is the coming of Mashiach, the belief in the coming of Mashiach, the Rambam speaks only on the belief in the revelation of Mashiach himself, and he does not mention at all any of the additional details that will be in the world, or the perfection of Torah mitzvahs, or the completion. And these are the words of the Rambam. The 12th, the foundation, number 12, is the days of Mashiach, and to believe and in the truth that he will come, not to think that he will tarry, and to believe in him, and to make him great and to love him, and to pray for him, like all the prophets prophesied about him from Moshe Rabbeinu through Malachi, anybody that has any doubt on him, or diminishes by him, for the person diminishes the great milas, the great attributes of Mashiach, kafir b'Torah, he is a heretic. Shiyad boyat b'Torah, because the Torah testified on him Peirush, Parshas Bilam ve'atim nitzavim, in Parshas Bilam and ve'atim nitzavim, mechlal yesod hazeh, and included in this foundation she'elam melech Yisrael elam beis David u'mizera shleimei bilvad, that there is no king to the Jews rather from the house of David and from the descendants of Shlomo HaMelech. Al Malchus zois hamishpacha, anybody who disagrees on this kingship, on this family, kafir b'Hashem Yisbarach v'David Nivav. What do we see from this? We see even more that the main concept, the main idea of redemption is that we believe and we await and we expect the revelation of Mashiach himself. Now, what does the Rebbe say? The Rebbe says, the concept, the idea of Mashiach is not to fix the world. It is a thing upon itself. The idea of the coming of Mashiach, the concept, is that there should be drawn down and revealed in the world Melech HaMashiach. An outcome of this is the world will be fixed. Even the world will be perfect. The concept of Mashiach is that he will be revealed in the world. To know that this is Mashiach Bevadai. This is the Rebbe's Hadran on the Rambam in Tafshin Memvav. Now, the reason we can understand, according to what we said before, because like we said, the acceptance of Malchus Shamayim is a foundation on which we can fulfill all the mitzvahs. Sorry, it's not only a foundation for which we can fulfill all the mitzvahs, rather it is a thing upon itself. It is a purpose for itself. That it's expressed. What are we doing when we're fulfilling the mitzvahs? We are expressing Hashem's kingship over us, over the Jews. And similarly, we can understand with regards to the revelation of Hashem's kingship through the kingdom, the Davidic dynasty. It's not only a foundation that allows for the completion of the mitzvahs that will be. This is also the purpose and the goal for the completion of the fulfilling of the mitzvahs, is to have a revelation of the kingship of David, which is the representation of Hashem's kingship. In the first parak, in Hilchos Malachim, the Rambam comes to explain not inyan of the inyan of Mashiach as it is for itself, rather the perfection of the halachos of Torah that will be in the future, and that's why the Rambam stresses the idea of choshen kol mishpatim and b'yamav and anything that is connected to that, which is the building of the Beis HaMikdash and coming into the land of Israel. And with regards to the return of the Davidic dynasty, it's very short because he's not focused on that. But when we go to Peirush HaMishnayos, where he is focusing on Mashiach as it is for itself in its purity, that's why the Rambam in Peirush HaMishnayos spends a lot more time describing the kingship of David, of Mashiach, because that's the main thing. And I think, let's go. Let's finish Parak Shlishi. Achdus Yisrael al Yidei Melech HaMashiach, the unity, the Jewish unity through King Mashiach. Now we could possibly add and explain something that is essential to Melech HaMashiach as the Geula goes on in an additional note, as it relates to the unification of the Jews that will be revealed then through Mashiach. Now let's preface a little bit. The everlasting covenant that was made at the foot of Har Sinai between the Yidden and Hashem, between the Jews and God, included in it is automatically an everlasting covenant between the Jews themselves. Right? We have a relationship with Hashem. We made an everlasting covenant with Hashem, and that covenant also includes in it the everlasting covenant between one another. Me and my brethren, Jewish brethren. Because the connection between the Yidden, the Jews, and Hashem connects them and unites them, and makes from all of, basically gathers all the multitudes, every single individual, and makes them all into one nation. You are one entity now. And this is completed through the appointment of David HaMelech as an everlasting king over the Jews. Why? Because the image of a king that unites the masses and makes them all into one entity, which is one nation under one king. And like the Rambam says, that the goal of the appointment of a king is first and foremost that the king should yikabet kol ha'umayseinu, to gather all the nations, to gather everybody together to make one entity. So according to this, we can understand that the curse, so to speak, of Golos is not only bepizur hagashmi, the physical separation of the Jews that is spread out, the physical spreading out through all the four corners of the land. Rather, and this is mainly the spiritual pizur, the spiritual separation of the hearts. That the Yidden have been divided into many, many different groups and different thoughts and different ideologies, to a point where it's very clear that there's a difference. Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Chabad, not Chabad, all the different types of distinctions you want to make, all of these things is all as a matter of galus, of exile. And what is the true blessing of the Geulah? What is the bracha amitis? Is not only that there should be a physical gathering of all the Jews in Eretz Yisrael, rather and mainly that there should be a spiritual gathering, that every single Jew is connected and united one with another under Hashem's kingship, which is only one on us, and surrounding the image of Melech HaMashiach, the person. And we can possibly be medactic in the words of the Rambam in Hilchos Melech HaMashiach, that he writes, Yemei HaMelech HaMashiach k'shis yaseh Malchus v'ikabetz elav kol Yisrael, that he will gather to him all the Yidden. So let's be medactic on it. What is the true gathering of the exiles? Is not only a physical one to one place, rather mainly that there should be essential and soulful unification around one person, and bringing them all into one place without bringing them surrounding one person. It's an exterior unification. It's an exterior gathering, and not the Geulah, not the redemption that we are waiting for. Meaning, so even if we all get to one place, shkoyach, but we're still soulfully separated. This is connected to the building of the Beis HaMikdash that will be through Moshiach. Moshiach is going to build the Beis HaMikdash because besides for the king in general, that he has the responsibility to see to it that all the laws of Torah are being done, being fulfilled. Included in it is also the responsibility to build the Beis HaMikdash. In addition to that, there's a very special thing in the mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash that is only to be done. It is only be able to be fulfilled through the king. Like the Chazal say, there's three mitzvahs that the Jews have when they came into the land. That is to appoint a king, to destroy the descendants of Amalek, and to build the Beis HaBechira, the Beis HaMikdash. These three mitzvahs are dependent on each other to do, and you have to do them in order. Meaning, the perfection of building of the completion of the fulfillment of building the Beis HaMikdash is connected to fulfilling the mitzvah of appointing a king. Now, what are the reasons why it is like that? Because building the Beis HaMikdash is a mitzvah that is incumbent upon the congregation, the nation, and it's only able to be expressed through the congregation, through the nation, when they are united as one. And like the Rambam paskins, every single person is obligated to build and to arrange by themselves with their money, with themselves, men and women. The Rebbe explains that this is a condition to build a Beis HaMikdash, that every single Jew has to participate in the building of the Beis HaMikdash. And a Beis HaMikdash that is built through a portion of the Jews is not fit to be described as a mikdash. And therefore this mitzvah has to be done through a king. Why? Because without the image, without the concept, the idea of a king, there is no congregation. Rather, you just have a bunch of individuals. That every single one by himself, an individual person that has no ability to build a Beis HaMikdash. Only when you have a king, then you can have all of these individuals become one congregation, one nation, and build the Beis HaMikdash. And similarly, we can understand with regards to the Mikdash HaShlishi, the third Beis HaMikdash that we built through Melchus Mashiach, specifically a king from the house of David that returns the kingship, the kingdom, to its former glory, and gathers all the Jews sevivai around him, like we mentioned before. So let's do a quick summary to finish off this class. Malchus David, the Hashem's kingship over the Jews is revealed specifically through the kingship of David HaMelech, Malchus Basar V'Dam, which is the king of flesh and blood. Melachim, therefore, the belief in the coming of Mashiach, that it will return the kingdom of David to its former glory, is emuna b'hoifas ish Basar V'Dam, a belief that is brought about through a man, flesh and blood, that will rule over every single Jew. One who does not believe in him, Mashiach, Basar V'Dam, the Messiah, which is going to be a man, a person, he is a heretic. This and furthermore, even when the kingship of Hashem that you accept upon yourself is a foundation, is a preface to fulfilling mitzvahs in general, it is also the purpose and the goal for fulfilling the mitzvahs is through it will reveal Hashem's kingship over the Jews. Similarly, the return of the kingdom of David to its former glory through the King Mashiach is a foundation and a preface to the completion of the fulfillment of the mitzvahs that will be, and it is also the goal and the purpose in itself. Achdus Yisrael, the unification of the Jews through a king, that brings everybody, all the individuals, and creates from them one entity, which is the nation. The building of the Beis HaMikdash has to be specifically through a congregation, that at its head is a king. And similarly, with regards to the third Beis HaMikdash, can be built only through King Mashiach. It should happen. Take of him yad mamish. Amen. Everybody have a beautiful day, have a beautiful night, whatever it is. L'chaim u'libracha.